I've never been a bum motherfucker. Even when I was homeless, I was always fresh. You never saw me stink. You never saw me look whack. I've always, and my mother tells the story, she said, you always cried when you shit yourself as a baby. She said, you cried so much until I changed you. It's in my DNA to be a clean motherfucker. You understand? Like, it's in my DNA to be a fly motherfucker, to have a drip. Every time I walk into a store now, I just don't look at the price tags. That's the only thing that changed. But I've always been fly.
Gashi,
What up, man?
first and foremost, thank you for taking the time. I know you've got a lot you're working on right now.
Man,
And it's a pleasure, first and foremost, to
no, thank you for
get this
having me,
moment.
man.
I think what you're doing is amazing, firstly.
Thank you so much.
It's different.
Thank
But
you.
I think more importantly, the come up is what I'm more focusing on understanding, because I feel like that's what makes it even more different.
Yeah.
Right? So I understand you grew up in Libya.
Yeah, I was
correct?
born in Libya, yeah.
How did Libya mold and shape Larry?
You know, I feel like every artist you meet is a product of their environment. You understand? Like, everyone you meet is the way they are because of where they were born and raised. You know, everyone. I feel like as human beings, like when we come on Earth, we come through our mother. But once we leave our mother, we're part of our energy. The first energy we touch is where we were born. So that energy we shared that energy with the soil on where we're born. I feel like me being born there kind of like somehow, some way has shaped and formed me in a way where I'm like a gladiator. You know, I feel like I'm a soldier. Like I will not let no one tell me no, because I was born there and I've lived in such hard times there that everything else seems like a walk in the park.
You came over to America.
Yeah, I'm from Germany.
From Germany.
Yeah.
No English.
No English at all. I spoke 5 languages.
Tell me a bit about that. How was that
You know,
integration?
so I was born in Africa, Libya. I traveled there. I traveled all around there. My parents were refugees from Kosovo, so them being from Kosovo, like, they were forced to move, and when they went there for better life, the whole plan was to come to America. You know, freedom, land of the free, more opportunity, like everybody else. I mean, America's built off of immigrants. You know, people forget that. You know, like you know, when people say, "Oh, we don't want immigrants coming in here," like, you're crazy. Like, this place was built off of immigrants. You know what I'm saying? So, my parents decided America was the goal, and they traveled over 24 countries. This is a long story short. They traveled over 24 countries for us to get here. And then when they finally got here, we lived in a shelter. So majority of my life I was homeless. No place, no place to call home, no place to sleep, and no school, no nothing. You know, I was always moving. And then when we came here, we lived in a shelter for like a few years, and then we lived in my uncle's basement for another few years, and then my father somehow, some way got connected with someone who said, "Hey, we have an apartment for you. As long as you're able to maintenance and clean the building and do the garbage and everything, I'll give you a 1-bedroom." And then 5 of us lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, which was apartment 23. The first, I got it tatted on me. That's the first place I called home, which was apartment 23 in Brooklyn. That was the first time I've ever had a place that was not a refugee camp. It was not any weird shit. It was actually my home, my apartment. Yeah. And it was all 5 of us in a 1-bedroom. We would use sheets to split the rooms so my sister could sleep in that room and change, and we would do that. So we lived a harsh life for such a long time, you know what I mean? And then going to school, I went to school for the first time really going to school and learning, and it was when I first came to America, my first language was Arabic because I was born in Libya. Then I spoke Albanian, my parents. I spoke German. I spoke a little bit of Yugoslavian. But every country that I went to, somehow, some way, as a kid, it seems like children pick up languages faster than adults.
Yeah.
So I was picking up languages so quickly. You know, I lived in Switzerland. I lived in Italy. You know what I'm saying? So I would pick I would pick languages quicker than my parents, and I would learn them. So who knows? I probably was speaking like 9 when I first got here. You know what I mean? And then you slowly hear people say, "Oh, you speak with an accent. You speak with an accent." I'm sure you're from London. You hear it all the time. And when you speak with an accent, it's very difficult to. Sometimes it's not a compliment. You know what I'm saying? Especially me, like my favorite rappers never rapped with an accent. So my goal was to make sure that I forgot that accent. Like I wanted to completely forget it and learn English well. And the first thing as a child is you watch TV, American TV over and over again, and you begin to learn the language and forget the accent. So that was my goal. First things first. I was gonna watch MTV, watch Michael Jackson all day, every day, because I fell in love with Michael. That's my first inspiration. And I said, I'm going to learn English to the point where people think I'm from here.
Oh.
And that was the goal first. Then I went to school and I would go to this deli where we would smoke weed and play on the arcades. And there's this kid named Melvin who rapped at me and everyone laughed. And I looked around, I saw everyone laugh at me. And I was like, what was he saying that made everyone laugh? And how was he saying it? He was rhyming. So I said, next time he does this shit again, I'm going to come back at him with a rhyme. So I went home and I wrote my first rhyme. And that's how I began rapping.
Wow.
Yeah. And then from there, I went to junior high school, played basketball. No one knew how to say my first name because my first name is Leonard and nobody knows how to say it. So they called me Larry Bird because that was the only white player that was popular that everybody knew. And I was the only white kid on the basketball team. So they called me Larry. And so I got Larry. So when I became an American citizen, I added Larry as my middle name. So from there, I went to high school and I started rapping more and I fell in love with the people going, oh, ooh, like that whole chanting. I fell in love with that and I would rap. And I was always doing entertainment anyway, because even when I was getting sick of the refugee camp canned foods, me and my brother would dance to Michael Jackson on the street, or go to my friends, rich friends' parties. Who like we met like rich kids that we knew from like down the street with the big houses. Their parents would throw parties, and me and my brother would dance to Michael Jackson, and they throw money in the hat. So we'd eat like that. So I was always entertaining. I was always doing entertainment. There's nothing new. When I came here, I would rap at high school. When I went to high school, I would rap at people in the lunchrooms, and I realized that I really loved writing rhymes and like doing the whole music thing. But I would have never thought that I was gonna really take it to here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, long story short, I played football, got a full scholarship in Massachusetts. I went there for 2 years, and then I realized that I really loved music. I would cut football practice to go and record songs. So I left a full scholarship.
Wow.
I left a full scholarship to do music. There was one summer I met French Montana, and I was like working around him. I fell in love with how like he would like record like and do songs with some of my favorite rappers at the time, and he was coming up. So I was like, yo, this is dope. Like watching his come up was like I could do it too because we have a similar story. And I dropped out. And then when I dropped out, my parents being strict, like people from Albania, strict parents, and like believing in diploma, like that's all they want is a diploma. They don't believe in anything else. It broke their heart. You know what I'm saying? I watched my parents kind of cry and get upset and then kick me out the house. They were like, it's either you get a job and help us pay the rent or you go back to school. You got to choose because this music shit is not an option. And I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm out. So I'd be in Soho streets. You know, Keno brought us together, but you could tell you himself, like, he'd see me in the streets with my book bag, my jacket on, selling my mixtapes all the time and like pushing my music. And the thing was, I was homeless for about 2 years until I met a girlfriend, stayed with her for a little bit, and then I also met this kid named Scott Andrews. So I was homeless. When I dropped out, I made a CD that I thought was gonna make me pop off, and it never popped off. So for like 2 years, I basically was pushing the CD thinking it's gonna get me hot, but it wouldn't. I'll be sleeping at Wendy's, you know what I'm saying, sleeping on the train, sleeping at my friend Scott Andrews' crib, like trying to figure it out. And then I had to get a job because the shit wasn't working. I was running into artists and I would give them my CD, nobody would call me, and everybody played me. And there's even one time that I always tell the story every interview I do. Like there's one time that I gave Jay-Z, Jay-Z dropped his book. I jumped online to go buy his book. I bought the book, and then I slipped my mixtape in the book. So when he signs it, he gets my mixtape. He opened it up. It's like, what's your name? Grabbed the CD, threw it in the garbage, wrote my name on the book, and gave it back. And then 8 years later, I ended up signing with Jay-Z. So it's moments like that like always happen. Like everyone I meet now, I tell them I gave you my CD. And they always ask me the same question, like, hey, would you want to play me that CD right now? And I would say no. So that's why you got to thank God that it never worked out. Because I wasn't good. I wasn't as good as I am today. And I'm only going to progress and get better because I really love what I do, you know? So long story short, I was homeless for a while. And then my mom told me, she was like, yo, what are you going to do? You need to go back to school or you need to get a job. Because I was like, you know what? You're right, Mom. I fucked up. Rapping is not for me. Music is not for me. It's not working out. It's been years. And then this one night, I'm driving my mother. She had a late night shift, whatever. I'm driving. And while driving, Monday, I was supposed to go back to school and register. I'm driving my mom. It's like 12 o'clock at night and driving her to work. And my song came on the radio on Hot 97. And I pulled over. I pulled over to the side and I cried. And she cried. And I was like looking up, like I felt like that was a sign for me to not quit and go back to school the next day because I was making a mistake. And I didn't go back to school Monday. I was like, nah, Ma. I woke up. She was like, what do you mean? I said, nah, I'm not going back to school. I said, I'm not doing it. She was like, what do you mean you have to go back? I said, nah, I'm good. I got a job and I was doing the music shit. And then I ended up getting fired, whatever. I ended up getting fired. And then when I got fired, I got a call. And there's this guy named Jason Flom who signed Lord, Katy Perry. And he was like, I want to sign you. So he signed me. He signed me for $5,000. You know what I'm saying? And then I signed for $5,000 and I was like telling everybody I got signed, but I was still on the street like a bum with $5,000. And then that $5,000 disappeared. So then in my head, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, how I signed, they don't even call me. I'm shelved. Nobody really give a fuck about me in that building. And I signed for $5,000. I need to figure out a way to get the fuck out of this deal. So now I'm walking Soho still like a bum. The only difference is I'm a signed bum. And the worst part about being an artist, this is like advice to every artist watching this. The worst thing to do when you sign is announce it. You never want to announce when you sign. Wait until you get super fucking lit and then you tell people you signed. You do not want to tell. Reasons why. When you have a fan base and you tell people you signed, they automatically assume they don't need to help you and push your music anymore. So everyone just wants to watch and not help you. You don't want to say that. Another reason why, if you said the labels you sign to are jerk-offs, scumbags who don't want to do their job, what's going to happen to you is you're going to be signed and then you're going to be still regular, and there's nothing worse than being famous and broke. You can't go anywhere and you're fucking broke, so you can't hide. So picture me announcing I'm signed, still being in Soho Street, still broke as fucking dishes, trying to find a way to make it move. That's what happened with me. So I had to figure out a way to get the fuck out of that deal. And it wasn't working out. So then next thing you know, my ex, whatever, girl that I was fucking with at the time, invited me to a club. I went to a club and there's some kids singing to me and I was like, whatever. And then I went back in my car and he was like, yo, I'm a fan. Like, yo, for real, check me out. I'm on TV and stuff. I said, all right, cool. And then somehow, some way, I took that kid and sent it to the guy that signed me and was like, you should sign this. This is pop, not me. You should sign this and drop me. So he signed that kid and dropped me. As soon as I got dropped, I flew out to LA and I worked on Mad Music. I ended up on DJ Snake's album. DJ Snake called me. This is like a turning point. Yeah. So radio part was a turning point, and now this Snake shit is a turning point because DJ Snake was a big, big DJ. Yeah. He is a big DJ, one of the biggest in the world, and he called me and put me on a song on his album with Travis Scott and Quavo, and that shed some light on me. But it wasn't enough for me to actually feel like I was on. You know what I mean? And I kept going. I came back to New York. I ended up getting in trouble with the cops. I had a warrant for my arrest, and then I flew back out to LA to stay low. And then while out there, I recorded this song called Disrespectful. Now, when I recorded Disrespectful, I came back, the case got dropped. I came to see my mother. I played her the song, and she recorded me dancing to it. I uploaded the song on Instagram and ended up getting 300,000 fucking views, like 600 comments in like less than 30 minutes.
Wow.
Everyone was watching it. The shit went viral. Worldstar posted it. Everybody's posting it. Now I'm like, fuck, what's going on? I did a show that week, and everyone knew the words from the Instagram clip, not even the song. Then I put the song out, and the fucking shit took off. It had like 30 million on Spotify. And then Tuma put it on Rap Caviar, and it flew even higher. Everyone wanted to sign me now. I had no deal. Everyone wanted to sign me. Long story short, this is long story short because it's been 10 years. So like,
this is it.
Bear with me.
I'm listening.
Bear with me. So I'm going from label to label. I'm taking these meetings, whatever. I go to Roc Nation, and they're like, yo, we want to manage you. So I got a so I was like, yo, I need a manager. So I ended up signing with Roc Nation. But the thing is, the Disrespectful record, the way it was recorded was crazy. I was broke. And I had a manager that my ex-managers in LA, they managed YG. So YG was on the Fuck Donald Trump tour, and he had me carrying like these little pinatas for him. And I was like, I want to be a star. Why am I carrying pinatas for YG? Like, YG's a star. I want to be a star too. You know what I mean? I was like super fucking broke as shit in LA trying to figure it out. I went to this party and I met these kids who invited me to their crib. I wasn't even going to go, but I had to take a shit and I was hungry. So I went to their crib. I used their Wi-Fi, and then they were like, yo, you came here to record. Like, are you going to record anything? And I recorded that song. Wow. And the way it was recorded, it was like meant to be in a weird way. And then when I dropped that song and I showed it to my mom and the shit went viral on Instagram, I did the show and every kid knew word for word the whole shit. Tuma put it on Rap Caviar and the shit took off. And when that took off, everybody wanted to sign me. I ended up having a meeting with Roc Nation. I just took them for management. I signed to Roc Nation for management. And then somehow, some way, took meetings with labels, and then one of my meetings with RCA went viral again of me dancing in a room full of execs. And everyone posted it. And then I had no choice but to sign to RCA. So then I signed to RCA. And that's long story short of how I got here. Wow. But before that, before I even signed to Roc Nation or RCA, I took the down payment from Disrespectful off of Spotify and I put my parents into their first home. Wow.
How'd that feel?
It felt like the most incredible feeling in the world, you know. And then after I signed, I took that money and I bought my dad's favorite car. And I changed my sister's life. I helped my sister, her son and her husband, I helped move them into an apartment. And I've always wanted a Rolex. I got like 3 now. And it's like everything I've always told like people on the street that's gonna happen, it actually happened. Like, I told people I was gonna sign to Jay-Z one day. I told them I was gonna get a deal. I told people I was gonna have a couple $1 million. Like, I told them I was gonna work with certain artists. Everything has come to life. And now I'm working on my album. But the come up was so fucking hard for me. Nobody co-signed me. Nobody was trying to help me like that, no, except for like DJ Snake or somebody like that, you know what I'm saying? And now I got this record, Creep on Me, out, and French Montana's on it, and it's doing numbers. The shit just hit 10 million in 2 weeks. And it's like, I don't take it for granted, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, there was nights where, like, people say people say things like, yeah, man, I was broke, boom, 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 like, I struggled. And that's cool, like, I understand that, because that happened with me in the States as well. But, bro, I was homeless in different countries with my entire family. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you know about having your whole family in a trunk trying to escape through a border? Like, you have no idea what that's like. You have no idea what it's like to watch your mother feel embarrassed because she has to rob jackets for you to go to school with a coat. Like, you have no idea, like, what it's like to wake up every single day and not even know if you're going to be alive, because you know going to another country and you're getting locked up, they're going to separate you and your family. You might even get murdered. That's a struggle itself of me coming to America. Then when I came here, it was just another story. It was another chapter of me being homeless and trying to figure it out. Watching my father, me pointing at like Nikes and stuff like that. Watching my father bust his ass with 6 jobs of doing garbage, cleaning trash, ruining his entire life to get me a pair of fucking Jordans or some shit like that that I could never get. I tasted soda for the first time when I went to Germany. I didn't know what candy was or nothing. I saw snow for the first time in Austria. So it's like the life itself before America was a movie itself. And then when I came here, it was just even more crazy as I got older. And I realized once I met some rich kids what life was. Because I would look at their life, it was different. Like they'd have dinner with the entire family around the table. I never had that experience before. I wanted that for my children. I see kids like dressing their kids having more than one pair of sneakers at their crib. And like I'd see them having fridges with ice machines and see them doing barbecues, having swimming pools. And I never thought that that would really exist because I only saw it on TV like Home Alone and shit like that. You know what I mean? And this is what I always wanted. And now I'm still chasing my dream and I'm trying to pray. I pray to God that the people that motivate me to chase my dream are alive to see it. That's the only worry I have because I'm chasing it and every day I'm getting closer and closer to my dreams every single time. Like every time that I wake up, I feel like the come up now, it's becoming real. At first it's like, oh, it's not real, it's not real. And then out of nowhere, you're working with Travis. You're working with you're signed to Jay-Z, the wealthiest rapper of all time, and the most successful, who has classics. And I'm shaking his hand, and he knows me, and I know him, and you know what I'm saying. Your idols become your friends, and you're looking at the room around you, and you're like, wow, this could be me, and it's becoming me. You know, and that's the come up, man. It's been 10 years. And I still have like 10 more years to go to get to where I want to get to because it's never done. The thing is, I called my album Stairs. My first album was Stairs. My second one's going to be called Stairs too. And it's because my life has been stairs. I watched my friends who took off and become successful overnight and then they fell off overnight. Because life is stairs because it's so hard to go up, but it's so easy to come down. And everybody knows that shit. So you got to appreciate every single moment. It took me to realize that what I do is not a destination. There's no destination to a come up. It's a journey. Like you need to enjoy every single second of your journey because you just got to pray that your journey and your story is long. As you can see, every single rapper is dying every other hour. And it's like a new rapper every single second you see a new rapper. You know what I'm saying? So what makes you different from the next person? What with me was I wasn't chasing waves. I just did what I wanted to do. I did what I felt in my heart was right. I did the kind of music I felt in my heart. I never wanted to let somebody tell me what kind of music or how I should look or anything. I just chased my heart and my dream. And I feel like that's what made the come up so crazy. And I'm kind of happy because now I look back and like I said, I'm kind of happy because I smile at the people that said no to me because they fell off. So even those people that say no to you, you got to thank them because if they said yes to you, you'd fall with them. So that's that, man. And now I'm here working on my second album. I got Joey Badass. I got gigs, French Montana, DJ Snake, putting Rocky on it. It's going to be a special album, special. It's about a rapper who gets stuck in a time machine and is forced to make 80s music. And this is how I became the Trap Phil Collins.
Wow.
And that's that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of setbacks in this.
Yeah.
A lot. How have you managed to deal with setbacks? How do you deal with failure?
Man, bro, I failed so many times, bro. So many times. And I've failed so many times. But the thing that's so crazy is I look at every setback like a slingshot. Because the further I get set back, when that shit lets go, I'm out of here. So every time God takes me back, he takes me back 2 steps. I know he's going to keep me forward 6 steps. So I'm fine.
And having this transition from having nothing
Yeah.
to having something,
Yeah.
that's an adjustment in itself. How are you dealing with that?
I mean, I've always been rich. Like even when I had no money, I was rich because I had my mom and dad. I had my sister, my brother. I had family. You know what I'm saying? So I hate when I even say things like I had nothing because that's so dumb. You know what I'm saying? I had my family. I had people around me. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate to say the word nothing because I had them. There's people with money that have nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, but the transition is difficult, but at the same time, I'm getting used to it. I've kind of gotten used to it. I've never been a bum motherfucker. Even when I was homeless, I was always fresh. You never saw me stink. You never saw me look whack. And my mother tells a story. She said, you always cried when you shit yourself as a baby. She said, you cried so much until I changed you. It's in my DNA to be a clean motherfucker. You understand? Like it's in my DNA to be a fly motherfucker, to have a drip. Every time I walk into a store now, I just don't look at the price tags. That's the only thing that changed. But I've always been fly. Even if I went to Marshalls and try to switch the tags that could be cheaper and finesse my way, I've always been a fly motherfucker. Like I've always been this way. I felt like I was always rich. I feel like in this world that we live in, it's a game and you control the world. And how you control it is you need to figure it out. If you want something, you attract it. And that's the only way it works. I've attracted this lifestyle of mine. I've always attracted rich friends, even though I was the brokest. Guess what? I attracted richness. I've always had this drip about me. Everywhere I go, people felt like I always had money, even when I was the brokest in the crew. I've never let anyone know that I was doing bad. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that changed now is I actually have money. I don't got to lie about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
What would you tell your younger self?
Um, if I had to talk to my younger self, I would say, hey, Gash, chill the fuck out. Play the fool. If I had to talk to my younger self, I would say, hey, play the fool to fool the fool who thinks they fooling you. Yeah. And honesty saves time, but don't be honest. Wait for the time.
Wow.
Because I ruined a lot of relationships saying how I felt early stage. You know what I'm saying? And there's things I don't regret because in this business, you always meet people that are more powerful than you and they try to get you to do things you don't want to do. And I said no. You know what I'm saying? I still say no. You know what I mean? I stick to my guns. But there's times where I could have said, yeah, this song sounds cool. It's dope. Instead of saying, yo, that's just whack. You should do this. And they're like, who are you to tell me it's whack? And then, fuck that guy. I don't like that guy. And then, boom, you get kicked out of a Gaga session. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's the only thing.
Where do you see Gashi, say 5 years from now?
5 years from now, God willing, I'm alive. 5 years from now, God willing, I'm alive. And I see myself living in Malibu. And God willing, my parents are alive and living with me. And I see myself just doing movies. Like I see myself becoming a director. I see myself maybe in fashion. I don't know why my mother said she had a dream of me being in fashion. And the thing that's so crazy is like I wasn't supposed to be born, which is crazy. I was a mistake. My mother found out she was pregnant late and she was like, okay, I'm going to keep him. And she had a dream that I fell from the sky. And she cried because she saw a baby fall from the sky. And then she caught me. And then she woke up. She said she saw me before I was born. So every time she says something, like she said she saw this guy, I said, who is the guy? And then she showed me a picture of Jay-Z, and I ended up signing with Jay-Z 8 years later. Like she's like, oh, you're going to work with this guy. It's like she saw kind of the future, you know what I mean? So she always says you're going to work in fashion and movies. So you never know. But in 5 years from now, I just hope I'm alive and I'm successful.
You are successful.
Continue to be successful. Because you know what, man? It's a roller coaster, man. You want 1 year they like you, the next year they don't. So, just save up.
Gashi,
It's
thanks.
hard. Yeah, thank you so much. It's hard to save up though, because I like buying a lot of shit.
I got one more question.
Yeah,
One more question.
yeah.
And this is an important one. Who is Gashi?
Who is Gashi? Gashi is Gashi is Gashi is a kid. Gashi is a kid with big dreams, so big that he's afraid of them, but he's willing to risk it all. Gashi is the most generous person. Gashi is a kid that set himself on fire to keep his family warm. That's who Gashi is, and that's that. I don't know what to tell you, and that's who he is. Gashi's everything. Product of the world. And that's that. And you know what, man? I think people are gonna appreciate me. I think people are gonna appreciate my music. I've had people in the business tell me they hate me, but they love my music. And when someone tells you that, it's the music's fucking good. So I just think that I'm the type of artist that either people appreciate me while I'm alive, or I live long enough to be a villain and they love me early, or they just love me when I'm dead and I'm gone. So, and it seems like that's how they do it nowadays anyway. But I just feel like I'm gonna be here forever. Even though I don't see myself being an old man, I feel like I'm 16 still. You know what I mean? Last time I felt, you know what I'm saying? Like people are like, oh, it's 2018. I'm still thinking about what happened in 2001. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a young soul, but I'm an old soul in a fucked up way. I'm old because I feel like I belong in the 70s and 80s, but I'm young enough where I don't let an old motherfucker tell me what the next move is. I do what I want. I sing, I rap, I dance, I dress the way I dress. I like my style. I've always had my own identity. I've never looked at anyone to tell me what's the next move. Oh, this is hot, this is not. Stop it. Because I like to do what I do. It's in me. I really feel like you cannot teach confidence. You cannot teach swag. You cannot teach drip. You cannot teach someone to be great. You just can't teach that shit. Greatness is within. Like, as soon as a baby and a child is born, you could look at their eyes and tell who they're gonna be. And that's that. I feel like I feel like in the most humble way, because I don't want to sound crazy. I just feel like I'm put on earth to make a difference. Like, I was not even supposed to be here, and there's reasons why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I already saved my family. Now it's time for me to save every kid that listens to my music somehow, some way. But that's not my job. At the end of the day, I do what I do. My music is for me. If you like it, then we share it together. And if you don't, fuck it. Find something that you like. Every Friday is a new artist. That's that. That's my come up. Yo, man, what up? What up? It's your boy Gashi. And this right here is my come up. And guess what? I am my come up. Peace.